The Last Hand Dealt. A story by Michael Anthony Neal Jr. Part 1. The Setup. The Cabrini Green Towers didn't kill everybody. Some people it just marked. Darius, Smooth, Washington had been marked since the night his mother pressed a crisp $50 bill into his 9-year-old hand and told him to go buy groceries, and he came back 3 hours later with nothing but a story about how a dice game looked more promising. She whipped him until her arm got tired. But something in his eyes had already changed. The hunger was there, not the kind that comes from an empty stomach, but the kind that lives in the chest, behind the ribs, gnawing at everything decent a person might have been. By 22, Smooth was the most talented con man on the south side of Chicago. He wasn't big, wasn't particularly intimidating. What he had was a face that looked like it belonged in church, wide brown eyes that carried just enough sadness to make women want to save him, just enough warmth to make men trust him. He could walk into a room as a pastor, a contractor, a social worker, a city inspector. He wore personas like other men wore cologne. His partner was a woman named Renee. Lord have mercy, Renee. She was the kind of beauty that made men stupid and women hate. 5'7", honey brown skin, natural hair that she wore in twists on Sundays and loose on Fridays when she needed something. She'd grown up 3 buildings down from Smooth in the Ida B. Wells projects on the East End. They'd been running together since 16, and somewhere between the scams and the escapes, between the laughing in stolen cars and crying over close calls, they'd fallen into something that wasn't quite love but was too deep to call anything else. They had a system. Renee would identify the mark. Smooth would work them. They'd split 60-40, Smooth taking the 60 because, as he always said, the face does the heavy lifting, baby. Renee had stopped arguing about that split 2 years ago. But she hadn't stopped keeping count. Part 2. The Score. The mark's name was Gerald Watkins. 56 years old, retired city alderman. He lived in a brownstone off Michigan Avenue but still drove back to the projects every third Sunday to drop money in the collection plate at Greater Harvest Baptist Church, not out of faith, but out of visibility. Gerald had a reputation to maintain. He also had a floor safe behind the painting in his study. Renee knew because she'd spent 3 weeks getting close to his housekeeper, a sweet woman named Miss Odette who talked too much when someone brought her a sweet potato pie and a listening ear. The safe held $240,000 in cash, Gerald's insurance money, as he called it. Money that had never seen a tax form. Money that couldn't be reported stolen without Gerald explaining where it came from. It was a perfect score. The con was elegant. Smooth posed as a federal housing consultant named Drive Marcus Webb, complete with a fake government badge that cost him $400 from a man in Englewood who asked no questions. He got a meeting with Gerald under the pretense of a lucrative redevelopment deal. City money flowed